Welcome to the weekly outlook. Boone here from EWPRO. Getting straight into it. Start with the DXY as usual. So let's get me pen. So we got the 5 down on the daily. Then we got this WXY. We went and broke this low and the trend line. So last week I said, well, last couple of weeks I've been saying this can be a flat in here to go and break this top. Now last week we're only looking for buys. In here we're only looking for buys. If we go down to the H4, it's really taken off. So I hope if you're in this, you'll be doing well. But last week, we got this WXYX. The Z didn't come down and break the low. It broke the starting point of wave Y. That's all it really needs to do. And then we had this in here last week. So we're only looking for buys. You got a nice flag in here, well, a correction in here if you're looking for that buy. It's going further than I thought it would. In this, it's really impulsive. So we're looking for, on the H4, we're looking for that WXY. We don't know where that wave Y will end, and then X2, and then a Z up, possibly going breaking this top. More than likely it will, the way it's how impulsive it is. On the H1, so this was your correction in here if you took it, or you could have taken this break out of here, out of the trend line here. At this stage, you can look for, we don't have any bearish divergence, so you can look for you know, bullish flags, like things like this, and just scalp them. But then the safest way to trade it now is to wait for this X2. So going on to the AU on the daily, nothing's changed on the daily. Looking for this C down, and we're finally getting this C down. Will it go back to the 50 fib retracement? Well, possibly. It's this starting to look rather impulsive. On the H4, we got this A, B, C down. Then we got these 5 up. Now this more than likely is a complex correction, a 335 or 333. With Elliott waves, Elliott never, with his complex corrections, he never went into it much. What a complex correction is. All he said, if you read the book, is that it can be any correction in the W and the X and the Y and the X2 and the Z. It can be any sort of correction. So we don't really know, because Elliott never explained it very well. You know, so we can still get 5 in the X2, because I was looking at it as on the daily as an A, B, C down, but that's wrong now, because so I remove that. It's more of a WXY. They still don't have any bullish divergence, but more than likely it's still going to be a WXY XZ. So if we look at, change this, WXY XZ, and go back to the H4. So still looking at it as a correction, because we're getting all these, like we got 3 waves in wave W, we got 5 waves in wave X2, or we can look at it as this is the larger correction and we still just get 3 waves in here. But now we're looking for 5 down. I was just looking for that C down, only looking for the sells, like I've been saying for ages. We're only looking for that sell. I'll change this quickly. So we're getting a getting 5 down here. So we were looking for this as the correction, trend line break, and we got a nice setup in here. Most people would be in this. I'm in this. So we got that H1, we got that 3 up with bearish divergence. We got this flat in here. So we got a W, X, Y. We're getting Y now. Get X2, and then a Z down. You really, if you're not in it, you have to wait. You have to wait for another correction, something similar size to this, before you can jump into it. You don't want to be jumping in it now, right? We don't have any bullish divergence, so you can risk taking bearish flags, but the safest way is to wait for a correction and then trade that Z down to finish off wave Y on the H4. EU on the daily, again, nothing's changed. Looking at that for that C down, will it get to the 50 fib? Well, we don't know. We'll have to see. I'll just take that off. I didn't have this on here last week, this flat in here, but I said, you know, this can be a flat in here, similar to that, like DXY. So we get A, B, C. On the H4, so we got that 3 up in here, A, B, C, and we had a complex correction in here as well. So now when we're looking at it, very similar to AU, we got this W, X, we're in a wave Y. Wait for your X2, and then look for the Z down to possibly finish off this C wave on the daily. H1, I mean, I'm in this as well. You know, you don't really want to miss these sort of trades. Last week it was quite difficult because we had that A, B, C down, and I said you have to wait to see what sort of correction we get. Is it going to go up and break the top, or is it going to give us a bearish setup? Well, it gave us a bearish setup, and I was only looking for the sell, because we're at a high. So now you got a W, X, Y, X2, and a Z. Wait for that X2. Wait for another correction, or you can look for flags and scalp it down, because we don't have any bullish divergence. But this is very extended. We don't know where this wave Y will end. So you can scalp the, flags if you get them, but the safest option is to wait for that X2 and then trade that Z down at this stage if you didn't get in up here. GU on the daily. So again, been waiting for ages for this C down. We're finally getting it. We've got to cross down on the MACD. On the H4, again, we got that 5 up in the B wave. Then we got W, X, Y. This is really coming down to the 250 fib. So you do not want to be like selling. Your trade was up here, you know. You really have to wait for this X2 and then trade that Z down. That's the safest way to trade it. You know, again, you can look for flags to sell. You know, flags like this. This was quite difficult. I didn't get in on this one. This was quite difficult because it went and broke this top here. And that sort of negated me from trading, taking the sell, because it didn't fit my rules. But yeah, if you got in on it, you've done well. And new on the daily, again, you know, A, B, we've been waiting for this C down, looking for that 100 fib. Will it get back to the 50 fib retracements? Well, we don't really know at this stage, because we got the possible bull divergence. That can change. At this stage, we have possible bull divergence, but you know that can change. On the H4, so I was looking at this as the Z up, because we had that bull hidden here, for this to go and break that top. We traded that. Now I sort of have to look at it as like W, X, Y, X, Z, and this is a Z. I was looking at this as the flat in here. Where was it? An A, B, and this is just a C down, and then possibly more upside. But we didn't get any bullish setup to trade that as another 5 up. This again was wasn't really nice. The only way you could have traded it is like a break of this low here on this flat here, because we're looking for that A, B, C, and then it gave this correction here to confirm more downside. So if you took that, you done well. Now, again, there's not much you can really do. You have to wait for another correction. If you get another H1 correction like this, look for the sell. We're only looking for the sells at this stage. UY on the daily. Okay, so I've still got this trade idea still going, that I'll put on trading view. But looking at this, looking this A, B, looking for that C down to the 100 fib on the daily. Looking at this as a B wave, I'll just zoom in. Looking at this as a B wave because of how choppy it is. You know, that's what I've been saying. So if we go down to the H4, so we're looking at that A. I was looking at this as a flat in here last week, and this possibly being the end of the move. It never gave that sell setup to sell it. That was a problem. So now we look at it as an A, B, C, and then we get that A, B, C in here, and then we get that larger A, B, C. So this should be finished now. This should be over. So I'll just adjust this over to here. Take this off. So we're looking at this as the flat. Move that. and this is your A, B, C. So we got that A, B, C. This should be over, but again, if we have a look on the H1, it's not giving us a sell setup. We've got no bearish divergence for a start, and here we have the possible bull hidden. So really, to sell this, and I'm only looking for sell, you know, I'm looking for that C down on the daily. We really need to negate this bull hidden here, because this can go up and break that top, because we have the possible bull hidden here. We got like this was very choppy, but we don't have any bearish divergence, and we have that possible bull hidden. So if you get a sell set up, you can take it, but be very mindful. I would, me personally, I'd wait for this low to be broken to negate that possible bull hidden, come down here, break the low, and then give us a flag or a correction in here after breaking the low, and then look for the sell. That's the safest way, especially like the buy. I'm not really interested in the buy, and there's no real buy setup on it at this stage. There's no buy or sell on it really, because we have that possible bull hidden. So you just have to wait and see what it breaks. If it breaks this low, well, then you can look for the sell. Even if price does come and break this top, then you can draw that trend line, wait for your break, trend line break, and your sell set up, and then look for the sell. You Sheffy or the Swissy. Oh, this was on the room, but we're only looking for buys. We had bullish divergence down here on the lower time frames. This can possibly have gone and broken this low. It's not like I've been saying for the last few weeks. It more than likely won't now, because we've got all that bullish divergence on the lower time frame. Now it's just broken out. Only looking for the buys. So H4, we just got one wave up on the H4. There's nothing really on the H4. I was looking, if you go back through me videos, you'll see that I was looking for a retracement up to this 38.2 and possibly up to the 50 fib. Well, price has broken straight through those targets. I've got a couple of entries on this as well, one here and one at this buy stop. But and I haven't taken them off because it was so impulsive, and it's just broken straight through. Now you really have to wait for a correction if you're not in it. You really have to wait for a correction. So I got in over here quite a few weeks ago, just been waiting, and then I put this idea out in the room, a buy stop here, and yeah, this was just stop loss just under here, and yeah, we got that nice trade. Just take that off. So we've got this like W, X, Y. We're in a wave Y. This wave Y may not be over, but the safest way to trade it now is wait for that X2 and then trade the Z up. You really need to be waiting, because it's gone so far. You can trade flags if you want, but be careful. Flags are more to scalp, especially when we've got such a big move. Yeah, I'd be waiting for, if you're not in it, I'd be waiting for the X2 and then trade that Z up. Wait for a similar size correction as this one here. UCAD finally got the break of the trend line. We're looking for that 50 fib retrace. on here, I was looking for W, X, Y, X2 and a Z down. That's still possible because here we do have, between this X here and here, we do have that possible bear hidden. It's not really tradable as bear hidden though. We have all this bullish divergence, and like I've been saying for ages, you know, I'm only looking for the buys, and we've got this on the weekly. If you go back a few weeks ago, I shared the weekly outlook, and we got this bounce off this 100 fib, and this has been holding for quite some time, you know, around here, that 100 fib. You go down to the H4. There's nothing really on the H4. We got the bullish divergence last week. Like I said, you know, we got that bullish divergence. So only looking for buys, I was looking for that buy in there. I'm on this one as well, but still in it. On the H1, we're looking for that buy last week. If you took it, I actually put a buy stop just above here, stop loss just under here, and it took off. So now, you know, again, we don't have any bearish divergence, so you can look for the flags. Like you had heaps of opportunities. You had a nice flag in here. You had another one here. There's a little flat in here. You could have buy stop just above that top there. So you had quite a few opportunities to get in it. But yeah, and you still can like trade these flags and that, but just be careful because we've had such a big move. You really want to wait for a like W, X, Y, wait for the X2 and then the Z up. You really want to wait for a correction. That's the safest way. GY, nothing's changed on the daily really. Like I've been saying, we can go up to this 161.8, but then when we looked on the H4 for the last few weeks, we bounced clean off of this 161.8 in wave Z. We had that extended wave on the H4. So we had that extended wave, W, X, Y, X2, and then the Z up. Z went up, bounced clean off that 161.8. And this was sort of looking like just that A, B, C, and then possibly more upside because we had such a large correction in here. I never got any trades on the JPY pairs because they simply didn't give a nice setup. They didn't give me a sell setup. They didn't give me a nice sell setup, you know. So if we look here, I was just looking for that A, B, C down and then possibly more upside. We've got this move down here, but this was very deep. So I didn't really get that sell. I didn't get a nice sell setup. We've got a W, X, Y, look for your X2 and then a Z down. You can sell flags if you're looking for flags. You know, we got no bullish divergence, so you still can, and we don't know where wave Y will end. You know, if you get a nice flag like this one here, you can look for the sell. Just wait. But again, like I said, you know, the safest option is to wait for an X2 and then trade that Z down, or wave 5, however you look at it. EG on the daily, we're only looking for buys again. Like I've been saying, this, like I've been saying for a while, this is very bullish, but it's a large correction. So it can come down and break that low and give us an A, B, C as a running or even an expanding flat, and then go and break that low, because this has taken a long time, this correction. It's a large correction. It can just take off as well. So we're only looking for buys, and you want to take the buy if you get the opportunity. Look at the H4. We got that A, W, X, Y, looking for that Z down. We got that Z down to finish off this B wave. So now you really want to wait, get the trend line break, any flag or little correction here on the H1. You want to trade that up to at least the 100 fib. You know, well, that'll be your first target. And maybe, you know, this wave C on the daily's over and it really takes off. We don't know, but you know, if you get a buy setup, I don't think there is a buy setup on it at this stage. See, the problem here is on the H1, we don't have any bullish divergence, and we have possible bear hidden. So you really need to wait. You need to negate this bear hidden, this possible bear hidden. You want to break out of here, give you a correction out of here, and then look for the buy. That's the safest way, because we have possible bear hidden here with no bullish divergence. You know, very risky to be buying in this, within this impulse, here. So just wait for the trade. We're only looking for buys. Even if it comes down here and that bear hidden plays out, I'm not interested in the sell. Then just draw your trend line in here, wait for your break, flag, correction, and look for the buy. But yeah, EY on the daily, like I've been saying ever since I started doing this pair, on these weekly outlooks, you know, I've only been looking for the sells. I think when I started, you know, we're up around this 100 fib. I've only been looking for sells. We got all this bearish divergence. You don't want to be trading against that on the H4. So we got that Z up on the H4. We got this was the larger correction here. Then we got that W, X, Y, X, Z with bearish divergence. Now we're getting this like W, X, wave Y, wait for the X2 and then trade the Z down. This wave Y, we don't know where it's going to end. It's very impulsive. So this is very emotive. On the H1, again, this one didn't really give me a nice setup to sell. Like up here, you know, it didn't really give me something nice. It wasn't really a nice impulse. This correction here wasn't very nice either, so I missed the JPY pairs. But yeah, I got a lot of the others, so I'm not worried about it. Again, this is just one wave on the H1. So wait for your correction. Wait for your H1 correction and then look for the sell. You really have to wait for it. It's not giving nice flags. You could have got this one here, and then you got that deep, you know, correction here. But yeah, you get nice flags. If you get a nice flag, you can look for the sell. But yeah, I'll be more inclined to wait for that H1 correction, and then I'll be into the sell. Gold on the daily, so nothing's changed. Like I've been saying for ages on the daily, you know, we got this bear hidden here. We've got this bear hidden, so we can come down for that wave Z, and that looks like what's going to happen now. I said, you know, I've been saying for ages, we need to negate this bear hidden if we want the buy. We need to break out of here and then look for the buy to negate that bear hidden. So on the daily, we're looking for another one down here for that wave Z. On the H4, again, this one hadn't played nicely, like I've been saying for the last few weeks. We've got that WXY. So looking for this as the X2 and then get a Z up. We got the buy set up in here, but it never went. It never gave us that Z up. So, and then we got all this. So last week it was very undecided in what was going to happen, because I think we were in here somewhere within this impulse here. This one never broke that top, and we're still within this impulse here, around here somewhere. And I said, you know, if I go down to H1, it might be easier. Yeah, so we were in here somewhere, and we were in this impulse, and I said, you really have to wait for a correction or a flag to give us the direction. I said, if you want to wait for the bullish setup for a Z up, you really need that impulse bullish setup to buy, or wait for your sell setup. Again, I didn't get this one because this top here never got broken, so I couldn't really trade that. It gave a nice correction here. Sell setup, that was your sell setup. If you took that, you done well. I missed it, but a few people did take it. WTI on the daily, nothing's really changed. I'm looking for this C down still. I'm still looking at this as a B wave. It's so choppy, you know. Eventually we're going to get this C down, but like I've been saying for quite a while, we're not getting those sell setups. It's not giving us those sell setups. If we go down to the, this is just one wave. We've actually crossed here. So we've crossed down on here on the MACD. So the safest way to trade this now, I'd be putting a sell stop just under this low here, because we've got like A, B, C up in here. If you get triggered, well, that'll be a stop loss. If it goes and breaks the top, well, you know, you take that sell stop off. That's how I'd be trading this at this stage. I'm only looking for sells. You know, we're at a top, so I can't look for buys. But it's not giving you really, you know, it's more giving you a bull flag here, you know. So it's not really giving you that. We're still not getting the sell setup. So I'm just going to wait until I get a nice sell setup. I think last week we went down on the M15 and I was looking at that as the WXY. And I said, you can trade that Z up. Well, if you got that Z up, you're laughing. And then I said, you know, if you get that Z up, wait for your trend line break. And you got a flag here. So you could have got this as well. So if you were looking at the M15, you could have got that Z up. Then you got the trend line break, then you got another sell in here. At worst, it would have been break even, you know, because we got such a large move down. Unfortunately, it didn't go and come back up. But yeah, that's trading on the lower time frames. We really want to wait for that nice H1 sell set up, and then I'll be on it. Bitcoin is playing the game. So we've got that WXY. I'm looking at this as a larger correction. We still haven't crossed up on here. So we're still in wave Y. H1. So this wave Y may not be over. On the H4, last week, so a couple of weeks ago, I was looking at that triangle. Like I said, I was looking at A, B, C, D, E. Then we had that nice sell set up in here. I put out on Trading View, and it fell over at where she would have got break even. It didn't go and break that low. So last week, I was looking at this A, B, and we get that C up to that 100 fib. Well, price never got to that 100 fib. Even if you took this trade, like I said last week, at worst, you would have got break even. It never went up to the 100 fib, your first target, but it was only going to be a C up. So, now we've broken out of this trend line. The problem here is we don't have any bearish divergence, and we have possible bull hidden, I think. Well, I'll have a look if that low's been broken. Yeah, see, this low hasn't quite been broken. It's nearly negated this. You really want to wait until you negate this. If you're looking for the sell, you want to break below this low and then look for your correction on the H1 to sell, to negate that bull hidden. That's the safest way, because we don't have that bearish divergence. Do we have bearish divergence on the? I don't think we do. It's very hard. We may just have bearish divergence on the H1. But again, we haven't broken this low here. This would have been your trade here. Like you got this trend line break, and you would have got this trade in here if you trade this pair. Put a sell stop in here somewhere and trade that down. If you're in that trade, just move it to break even and hold it and look for more sells, because more than likely that H4 wave C up is over. We've got the cross down. So, I mean, it may turn into a flat here. You may get an expanding flat or something for another one up. You just have, that's why you need to wait for a nice correction on the H1. You need to wait for a nice correction or nice flag. This here would have been hard to trade. You would have had to have a sell stop on it. SPX on the daily, like I've been saying, we're only looking for sells. Eventually we're looking for that A, B, C. Will it get down to that 50 fib retracement? Well, we'll have to wait and see. But we've got all this bearish divergence, so we're only looking for sell. If you look on the H4, like I said, well, the last couple of weeks, we got this A, B, C. Is this the end of wave B? Well, maybe not, because we got this A, B, C in here. Then we get that A, B, C. So we're getting that C down I was looking for. And then we may get that A, B, C up, and then get the A, B, C. So like I said last couple of weeks, this can turn into a larger correction because we're getting all those impulses. We got an impulse, 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 then another impulse, then the correction, then the impulse. So this gave a nice sell setup, and I did take this one, but yeah, so got a nice flag in here. We got that bearish divergence, then a flag in here. It started to come back up, so I got out and I never got back into it, but it's actually fell over again. There's no divergence, no bullish divergence. So if you get flags, you can look for the sell or correction. More than likely, Let's see. We're getting 5 down. And you really want to, you know, so we're nearly at the 100 fib. Why this trend line here holds. So we're looking for it to come down to this 161.8 and then give us that Z down. So if I just zoom in a bit. So on the H1, we're looking W, X, Y, X2, and then a Z down. Why this trend line here holds. You can look for sells. We're in a downtrend on the daily, so and we don't have any bullish divergence. So you know, if you get flags, a nice flag or sell setup, you can look for the sell. The DAX on the daily, again, we're only looking for the sells. We got all this bearish divergence on the H4. Again, this is very similar to S&P. We got this. We got the Z up, then we got this impulse, impulse, correction, impulse. So we can look at that as an A, B, C. We're getting that C down now. If I just remove that, so we get that like A, B, C, and then we get that. This may be an A, B, C in here, and then, you know, but yeah, I'm looking at this as an A, B, C. So we're looking for this C down. More than likely, because it's broken the top, it's more than likely just a flat, and then we get more upside. But I said you really want to take this if you're looking to trade this, because you know we don't know if this is the top or not, and maybe the top, and you get it falls over from here, and the wave C on the daily's over. But yeah, I can only really forecast for this A, B, C as a running or expanding flat. We can only really know after this low here is broken. If price comes down and breaks that low, well, more than likely, we're going to get the larger correction and more downside. So if you're not in it, you know, see, this was your trade in here. You got this flat in here. So we've got a W. You really want to wait. This was very deep and large. So really surprised that it did fall over after we got this large correction here. And it was so deep. Usually, yeah, you don't get that. But you really want to wait for that X2 and then trade the Z down, unless you're going to look for flags. If you get a nice flag in here, well, you can look for more downside. Trade that, but just be careful because we don't know where this wave Y will end. The FTSE on the daily. So we've got looking for that A, B, C, like I've been saying for ages. Looking for that C down. But is this top over? You know, we never got that Z up. If we look here, we've got a W, X, Y, X, 2, and I was looking for that Z up. We never got it, and this is more of a correction in here. So again, well, I've got the arrows still on here, you know. I'm looking for that A, B, C, then that A, B, C, and then that A, B, C. It's similar to SPX and the DAX, you know. This can turn complex before, you know, get more upside. But we're getting what I was looking for, and that was this wave down here. Will it? It's breaking the trend line. Again, to get more downside, we really need to break below here, and then we can look at longer term as the B wave over, and then look for your larger correction in here, and look for more downside there. On the H1, I was looking at that. Well, I was looking at that as the top there, but it went up a little bit higher. Didn't change the structure at all. We're looking at this like W, X, Y, X, Z. And then this is what your correction here. You got to, you know, if you took this, if you trade this pair, well, you know, this was your trade in here. Now you really have to wait for another correction and then look for the Z down. So I hope this weekly outlook helped. If it did, hit the thumbs up. If it didn't, leave a comment and tell us why it didn't. Enjoy your weekend, rest of your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.